Hey, I'm ZSH Plays. Welcome to the Grand Tour of Lake Liberty, a theme park built around a huge lake that the guests can actually swim in. Let's go! Lake Liberty's taken 2 months to build. It features 2 coasters, 7 flat rides, and 2 water slides, along with the big lake that gives it its name, restaurants, and loads of new details I've added this week. Let's check it out. Alright, here we are in Lake Liberty. This is primarily inspired by 2 parks in the US. The back of the park is a huge lake that the guests can swim in, which is inspired by Lake Compounce. And the front of the park here is inspired by Belmont Park. What you're looking at here is the reason that was my main inspiration. A huge classic wooden coaster, and then the entrance of the park is actually underneath it. So let's head on in. The way the park works is there is no entrance fee. Instead, you pay to go on each ride, depending on which ride you want to go on. And I want it to be in here really cluttered, which is exactly how Belmont Park is. There's just rides on top of rides on top of rides. There is a lot going on in here. It's taken about 2 months to build, alongside building Belmont Zoo, so pretty pleased with how much we've got done in that time. Put a lot of extra detail in since the last episode, like this little ride sign here. So basically you pay for tickets at the entrance, and then each ride costs a certain number of tickets to get on. So let's get on to our first ride, the Giant Dipper. This is the first thing we built in the park, this coaster. You can see the ticket booths in the background there. And this is based on the real coaster at Belmont Park. So it's an old school wooden coaster with a chain lift. Takes us round here, you can see into the car park there. And then we're going to go up the lift hill. This ride is a lot of fun. I'm pretty pleased with how it turned out, considering it's the first coaster, and you get a really cool view of the rest of the park now that everything else has been built. Here we go. I love these old wooden coasters. There's just something magical about them, and the white and red colour scheme is really cool. When I saw this at Belmont Park, I knew straight away that this would be the first coaster to go into this park. And I love riding it now that you can see the rest of the park in there, rather than it just being a coaster sort of stuck in the middle of nowhere. Lots of detailing in the car park off the workshop from Mrs. T-Rex, so thanks for uploading that onto there. We're going to the last corner here. This is probably the best view of the rest of the park. Loads of new food stuff down there as well, which I'll show you in a bit. And that's the Giant Dipper. Let's continue our tour and check out our first flat ride, Zero Gravity. In the background you can see Zero Gravity. You saw that in action when we were on the coaster, so let's go and check that out next. We've got a few of these dipping dots kicking about as well. Little food shops. We've got an ice cream stand in there as well, so they actually work. People actually come here and buy ice cream. Can't have an American theme park without a dipping dots in it. Yeah, let's go and check out Zero Gravity. I love the really slow progress of this ride as it gradually winches you up to the top. It really makes you wait for the drop. I put a little extra pause in right at the top just to increase suspense, which probably works better in real life than it does on YouTube, because there's a lot of staring at the same scene. So I'll edit that out, and here we go. I wish it dropped straight from the top all the way to the bottom. I don't know what the ride does in real life. This is about 3 times the size of the real one, so who knows. Behind Zero Gravity, we've got the food court area of the park, including this brand new build I just did, Fryer. Not my name, don't blame me for that. This is taken from Luna Park, I think, or possibly Belmont Park, I don't recall. But it's a little fry shop. I was actually really happy with this, how this turned out. Got these giant fries up there. And then over here, we've got last week's builds, Bar Liberty and the Viva Vegan. So we've got a little outdoor food court in here. Nobody seems to be in there at the moment for some reason. I've loaded this in Soundbox for the tour so I can control the weather and the lighting, etc. And I've limited the number of people in the park, maybe a little too highly, looking at that. Over here, we've got the Unicorn Teacups and Beach Blast. That's one of my favourite rides. Got a little queue in here, and another dipping dots. So let's go and check out Beach Blast. Got a little custom background on this ride that we've built, which is what they have in the real ride in Belmont Park. So you can get a feel of the sea while you're on it. Which is funny because in Belmont Park it's actually built right against the beach in San Diego, I think it is. So probably not really necessary there, but we don't have a beach here, so Makes a lot more sense to have it on our version of the ride. It takes a while to get going, but when it does, it is really cool. It starts off like this, and then it starts spinning at the top. Just in case you weren't nauseous enough already. There we go. This is definitely one of my favourite rides in the park. I love how from various crazy angles you can see everything else in the park while you're on it. There's the spinning. This was probably about the time I would be regretting my decision to get on this ride. Let's check out the latest ride in Lake Liberty, the Atlantic Aviator. This is very popular because it's only just opened, so we're going to have to queue for a while IRL, but obviously we can get straight on it. This is the most heavily themed ride in the park. Pretty much everything has been replaced with custom pieces and aeroplanes so that it matches the real Atlantic Aviator at Luna Park, which is also in the US and one of the other parks that I've taken inspiration from to build this. This is using the new Strike ride from the Thrill Seekers ride pack, and I'm pretty sure I would not enjoy this ride IRL. It is pretty crazy. But again, you get a good view of the rest of the park. And I've redone all the pathing, replacing it with tarmac, which is much more textured and looks a lot better than the, I think it was the blue path that I was using before. So I'm really happy with the final look of this park. You can see the Cobra coaster next door, so we'll check that out next. This is supposed to be a boomerang coaster, but unfortunately, due to the bugs in Update 1, I can't research the coaster that I need to make this one work. So this one's a bit of a bodge job, to be honest. It only lasts about 30 seconds, so we will check that out. Let's ride it from the second seat rather than the first seat like we did last time, see what it looks like. Basically, this ride should go all the way backwards and then all the way forwards rather than just forwards. But seeing as the research screen crashes every time I open it, I'm stuck trying to build it using this coaster. But I do enjoy the Cobra roll in it. I think that's really cool. There's a good sensation of speed when you're on the ride. Over here we have the Grand Carousel. Just the standard carousel. I've not done too much to it other than a new roof. You can see I've got a canvas roof on it now, which I much prefer to the original. So we won't ride that right now. And then over here we've got the Tilt-A-Whirl. This was the first one I really went to town on in terms of customizing. Turned it into a little ice cream cupcake kind of ride. Really happy with that. And it actually looks like it'd be pretty much fun to ride as well. It's a bit more exciting than I thought it would be. If we just jump on here, you can see it doesn't just go round, it sort of randomly goes left and right as well, like a waltzer. And again, you get a really nice view of the rest of the park from it, which I like. One of my favourite things is that you can add a different soundtrack to every ride. Enables you to really set the vibe for each ride individually, which is cool. And then in the background we've got the big wheel. Pretty much no customization on this one actually. I just changed the colour scheme and added the park's logo to the centre. Love the lights on this. We'll take a quick look at the park at night at the end of the video. But now we're going to go into the second half of Lake Liberty. In the lore, this is like where the park would have started. So we've got a big lake, and at some point somebody had the idea to put a little bit of food, maybe some rides, some boats and stuff around here, and eventually it grew into the much bigger amusement park that it is now. This view with the lake and the mountains in the background is probably my favourite part of the park, I think. Just looks really gorgeous. So we've got a food court over here, some diggity dogs, and So Delightful. I like all the wood around here. I think it looks really nice. And we've got changing rooms over there. And then here we have sort of the reason that this park exists in the first place. I really wanted to see if we could get people into what looked like a completely natural lake. And as you can see, we can. Really pleased with how this whole thing looks. There's an island over there, and the people will actually get up onto that island. There's some sunbeds and stuff. And then we got a couple more rides down here, starting with the splash zone. This is a sort of loosely sort of piratey themed cove with some little slides intended for kids, although the adults seem to enjoy them as well. This is one of my favourite parts of the park. Just think it looks really nice. And then down here we've got the final ride in the park, the Siren. This is a big lighthouse themed water slide, as you can see. This is the first major build in the park after the coaster. I'm still pretty happy with it. I think it looks really good. Let's check that out. Take a ride on there. We've got some more changing rooms over there. But let's get into the Siren. It's a pretty extreme slide with some lasers. There's a couple of bits of the stairs poking through. Couldn't get rid of those, unfortunately, but it looks like it'd be a lot of fun, and the giant splash at the end is awesome. And that is Lake Liberty, our first Planet Coaster 2 park. Really enjoyed building this. Been a lot of fun learning how to play the game. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. The franchise code is on screen now, so you can jump in and explore the park yourself. And I'll be back with some big, heavily themed coasters next year. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you then. Bye.